Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Keeping the Faith, a Phillies United podcast, episode 5. Now, today we have a very special episode for everyone here listening in to the podcast. It is going to be a special winter meetings episode due to the baseball winter meetings that have gone on during this entirety of this week throughout Sunday to Thursday. Now, Phillies-wise, we got some things done, which we'll talk about later on. But really, kind of underwhelming in my opinion. Although deals were done with all the teams, most of the teams, deals were done. I was kind of expecting more, but just a synopsis. Bryce Harper, Manny Machado, they did not sign. Although rumors were floating around, Bryce Harper met with some teams. They did not sign. And Manny Machado, good to note, he's going to visit his potential suitors, Phillies, White Sox, Yankees, a few others maybe, next week, going to visit the ballparks. Similar thing that Patrick Corbin did, which I expect, so I'm hoping to see a picture of Manny Machado on that scoreboard, hopefully. But, yeah, so let's get into the winter meetings now. Each year, baseball has these winter meetings. This year it happened in Las Vegas, Bryce Harper's hometown, where it's basically just a bunch of owners, actually more or less general managers and agents, team executives, all about that. All in like this big area, and they're all intertwined, so deals get done. Like last year, the most notable deal getting done at the winter meetings was the Giancarlo Stanton deal between the Yankees and the Marlins. This year we didn't really have a big move, but we did have a few small moves, which we're going to cover just a little bit. Now, Ben, what do you think about the meetings as a whole before we actually dive into each day?
I thought the meetings were extremely underwhelming, even though a couple of players did sign. There weren't many trades that I expected to happen.
Yeah.
There was only one or two trades, and then one or two people that you consider top-tier free agents actually signed. So compared to other years, I would say it was underwhelming.
Yeah, definitely. Now, going into before I go into the days, we have our special guest, Chris, a good friend on the show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How's it going, everybody?
Yeah.
All my PhilliesUnited fans.
Yeah, finally got him on the show. It's going to be great to have him to talk about this for the 20 or 30 minutes, however long we're going to be here. What is that?
You can attest to my knowledge of baseball being.
Oh yeah, of course. Now let's dive into the meetings. Let's dive into what happened. Day one. I'm considering Sunday to be day one because technically it was everyone was there, so I'm calling it the first day. Day one, nothing really happened. Not much because it was basically just introduction day. Really, all the executives were arriving at Las Vegas at the suites, getting their game plan done, getting settled. So not much got done then. I don't think you wouldn't really expect anything to get done on the first day.
One thing did get done.
Oh, they did?
The first day. I think Nathan Eovaldi signed on.
Was that the first day?
It was either the first day or the second day. It was very early on to the second.
I think it was the second day because in my notes I have Eovaldi, like something about us and Eovaldi later on. So
yeah,
it's one of those. Eovaldi signed early on one of those days. Yeah.
Yeah.
So day 2 of the meetings, this is where things started to pick up. Now, I'm going in chronological order, so some of the stuff I may note has already been resolved. So just let you know, like, I have stuff about Hap, which, of course, has already been resolved if you're following the rumors and all that. So, day 2 of the meetings, December 10th, which was Monday this week. Phillies continued to be connected to J-Hap. Of course, we saw that did not work out. Yankees were announced to be out on Harper, which some people were...
It was big.
Some people were thinking it was just Brian Cashman playing his cards. But really, Yankees don't have room in their outfield, and it's really not the logical way to sign Bryce Harper, who is going to garner the largest contract in baseball history, to play a position he is not comfortable with in first base.
Exactly.
Did you guys hear that Chase Utley re-signed?
He did?
With the Dodgers?
Yeah.
Well, Chase Utley's doing something with the Dodgers. He's going to be like
retire.
something with player
maybe
development.
You think he just re-signed for, I don't know.
Nah, he's just doing something with
Oh,
like the
yeah,
Dodgers
that was,
player
that was in
development.
2015. My bad.
He's
Yeah,
gonna
but
retire.
actually Chase Utley did like is close to like coming back with the Dodgers as like player development type of person, something around those lines. I heard. So that's kind of
Mhm.
cool for him to be able to stay in the game of baseball after retiring. Now
Yeah.
moving on, we learned Dodgers are actually kind of serious about Bryce Harper, but their situation is kind of tricky because like I've read a few things about the Dodgers. I don't think they've ever played like a singular player, paid a singular player over like $100 million. And of course, Bryce Harper's going to get much more than that. And plus,
Yes.
their outfield is crowded. Like, if you think the Yankees outfield is crowded, look at theirs. It's basically the same thing.
I know. Well, the thing is with the Dodgers is that their infield is so crowded. They've kind of
Yeah.
pushed a lot of their infielders into the outfield
Cody Bellinger,
Chris
for
Taylor.
example.
and Bellinger.
Yeah.
So I mean, you already have Jock Peterson. You already have Yasiel Puig. You have Andrew Toles, who's a young kid. I could see Harper going there for the media market, but
Yeah.
I don't think the Dodgers are going to pay him the money they want, knowing that
Yeah.
the amount of like the young core they have in their outfield right now.
Yeah, and the Dodgers, I'm not sure if this is completely true, but I would expect it to be. I heard something about they might be expecting to try to stay under the trade, not the trade, the tax, which is $203 million this year. And I really don't I know why Bryce Harper's connected to them because he's Bryce Harper. It's Los Angeles. Why not?
Exactly.
Just like the Yankees. But the Dodgers would have to trade some of their guys. Now, of course, there's been a bunch of rumors, and at this point in the meetings, day 2, it was heavily rumored Dodgers would trade for someone like Corey Kluber, although recent events have happened where it seems unlikely that trading for Kluber could be on the table for the Dodgers. But at the time on day 2 of the meetings, people were thinking like, hey, they could trade Yasiel Puig or Alex Vertigo to the Indians, get like someone like Corey Kluber, that frees up a spot for Bryce Harper. And that was what people were thinking at the time.
Alex Vertigo, I mean, he came onto the scene at the end of the last season for the Dodgers, and he can play.
Yeah.
He can really cover his ground in the outfield, and kid's going to be a good player one day.
Yeah. Now, that's that for the Dodgers. Another thing to note on day 2 of the meetings, White Sox, of course, they've been connected to both Bryce Harper, Manny Machado, although some don't really take it seriously because of the position the White Sox are in. But they, just like us, they continue to pursue both at this point in the meetings.
Yeah.
White Sox made a move on the second day.
Yeah,
They signed
who was it again?
They signed starting pitcher Ivan Nova.
Oh, yeah, Ivan Nova.
He's good.
Ivan Nova. He is good. I mean, you could see that he's always that guy that'll eat up a ton of innings for your team. He can go 9 innings.
Yeah, he's got a very what do you say?
A good fastball.
Lasting arm.
Yeah.
Lasting arm.
Can preserve it for quite a while.
All right. So, yeah, White Sox continue to pursue both of them. And one of the notable things happening on day 2 was Gabe Kapler arriving at the winter meetings. He did an interview, which I listened to. Of course, this was a couple days ago, but I did listen to it.
Not
Basically,
as good as this interview.
just to sum up the interview, Kapler said he likes Segura hitting second, which I agree with.
Do you think he's gonna hit second?
I think
Yes.
Segura has a great chance to hit second unless like something major happens this offseason.
Unless Cesar gets traded, I don't see.
What do you guys think about
him
Michael
hitting first.
Franco? You think he's gonna get traded?
Franco,
I can.
if we
I
get
guess
Manny
it'll be some
Machado,
happen.
Franco's gone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If we get Machado, Franco's gone. He won't have a spot anymore.
Not necessarily. I mean, if you get Machado,
Yeah,
I
but
know
why?
we really want to play him at third, but we can move him to short, and Segura can play second, and you trade Cesar if you want.
Yeah.
If you're thinking Franco's better for the future.
Well,
Yeah, I do.
we'll talk about Cesar later. I believe I have something on Cesar later about something we learned about him, what happened during the season, which I think you've probably heard about up to this point. With
It's
his
Cesar,
foot.
not Caesar.
Yeah, but we'll talk about that going into the next days of the meetings. Now, in this interview, he said, of course, Segura, he liked Segura hitting second, sees that as a potential fit for him. One big thing he said, Kingery, at this point, unless we make other moves, will continue to platoon. Which, I mean, I'm fine with it. But you gotta, at some point when he's, actually mature and, able to able to take this major league pitching, he's got to go back to
Mhm.
his natural position at some point. He just has to.
I mean, you saw last season. We gave him a lot of games to prove himself, and he really didn't do his job. And Kepler's like, we're contending next season. We're not comfortable with you. We know we gave you a long contract, and we know you're young, but you're going to have to fight for your position here. And I
Yeah.
think that's the right thing to do.
Yeah. Another thing he said, he likes Reese back at first base. I don't think you're going to find a single person who doesn't like Reese at first base. So
Mm-hmm.
he admires both Manny Machado and Bryce Harper. Good move on his part. One big thing that he did note, he met with Odubel Herrera, it was a down season for him, just to say the least, last year. Very down season. And he said the club wants him to come into spring training in February at Clearwater in the best shape of his life. And what this tells me is he's on a short leash. He's got to come to spring training in the best shape of his life, be able to provide the most he can. Or like if he doesn't do that, I think ownership's going to be pretty skeptical about his position on this team in the near future.
Yeah, I mean,
Yes.
his average was only like 255.
That's a down year for him. That is a down year.
The one thing with Odubel Herrera is he hits a little bit for pop, but he hits a lot of doubles. So you're like,
But like
I mean,
doubles are
he's-
like not a sure thing, you know. A lot of them are gonna be pop-ups.
yeah, but he's reliable for an extra base hit, and that's
Yeah.
huge for the middle of your line.
Oh yeah, definitely.
If we can improve on, it will surely help us, you know.
Yeah. Now, the last thing I got from the interview was he's gonna say we're gonna focus on base running mechanics much more this year. Now, there were a few big blunders I remember from last year that really hurt seeing happen, and I'm glad that we're gonna be focusing on the base running, make sure we get that better for next season. And of course, we speak briefly on it. Nathan Eovaldi found out on one of these earlier days of the meetings that he signed back with the Red Sox for an insane amount that is unjustified. Insane amount of money.
You don't think it was justified?
No.
Because he's had Tommy
Okay.
John twice, and the only reason he got that much money because he pitched well in the postseason. But you gotta take into account he pitched a lot in the postseason for someone having two Tommy Johns in his recent history.
Yes.
Hold up, wait,
And now we found out. All right, he'll be back soon. We found out we reportedly did chase Eovaldi, not as a starter but as a closer, which was really
And
interesting
I
to
love
me.
that, which is big because that gives everybody hope that Velasquez might be moved to the pen.
Yeah, like Eovaldi, like you saw, like he was great in relief in the World Series. I think sometime in his potential future, if he can no longer start, he could be an elite reliever, like Craig Kimbrell, for example. He could be someone like Kimbrell with the
Like
stuff
Wade
he has.
Davis was a starter,
Yeah,
and he's dominant as a closer now. A lot of dominant closers started out as starting pitchers, so you never know with him.
yeah. So that basically sums up day 2. Not many deals went on this day that I noted of.
Not very.
On day 3, though, things got
Day 3.
interesting. Day 3 was our day. You could say it was the Phillies' day.
Yeah.
I say trade, but I mean sign. We signed
Yeah.
Andrew McCutchen, former MVP Andrew McCutchen. Now Ben, what do you think about this?
I thought that, I mean, it was a deal that scared Odubel Herrera.
Yeah,
I mean, he's really gonna fight for his spot. I think it was a comfortable amount of money. 3 years, 50.
yeah. Like Fangraphs had his worth at like $40 million, so I think it's all right. I think it's pretty all right.
If he does do well, it'll improve Odubel Herrera, make him fight for his spot more. So even if he doesn't do much for us, it'll help with the Odubel Herrera, you know.
And McCutchen, I mean, didn't have his best year, but he didn't have a down year. I mean, he had 254, 20 homers, 65 RBIs.
Yeah.
And he really proved that he still has his speed. He stole 15 bases, which isn't awful.
Yeah.
No.
Like he's not the MVP he once was. He's just not. He doesn't have the speed. He's not the everyday center fielder anymore. He's been playing more left field, right field, which I'm pretty sure he's going to play with us. but he's an upgrade over what we got defensively and offensively. He's like one of the best fastball hitters in baseball, although he struggled with the off speed a little bit. Like, who doesn't really? Yeah. Now, some
and
notes.
Even if he doesn't work out, Odubel Herrera, like you said.
Yeah, some notes I wrote about the McCutchen deal. I said it was a great move. One of the healthiest guys on the market. That's a big thing to note. McCutchen is the Iron Man. He is basically Iron Man. He barely gets hurt. He plays all the time, just like Manny Machado, basically, which is one of the reasons I'm so high on us signing Manny. Now, yeah, with this signing, we'd be avoiding injury-prone players like Michael Brantley and A.J. Pollock.
Mm-hmm.
Again, as I said, it was an upgrade, even if minor, from what we have right now. And he slots in the left/right field. Again, of course, he's no longer an everyday center fielder. Yeah. And the big thing to note, he fills the hole that Rhys Hoskins left in left field. He fills it.
He does.
Yeah, that's true.
And at this point, I did say he gives us signing Andrew McCutchen gives us options to trade for like some pitchers. I thought that like we had a good chance to land someone like Trevor Bauer at that time of the meetings. Of course, after seeing some of the deals the Indians have made recently, it seems unlikely. But at this time, I did believe we could have traded someone like Nick Williams for like in a package for Trevor Bauer.
Yeah.
And most importantly, I noted on this, it does not rule us out on Harper or Manny Machado. It does not. It might even make our case even stronger, if anything.
I think it makes our case stronger for Machado, but I think we lose a little bit of power going into Harper.
Yeah.
I still think Harper's probable or very likely, but I think that the percentage fell a little bit with that signing.
Yeah. Now, moving on, day 4 of the meetings. Day 4 of 5.
Day 4 and 5.
This is where some of the
League East.
Yeah. This is where some of the bigger things happened. Jay Happ rumored he would sign the Yankees. I don't think the deal was ever revealed yet. I don't think it has been revealed yet, but he's a Yankee. Like it's basically signing now. Charlie Morton signed with the Tampa Bay Rays, 2 years, $30 million. Good amount for a guy with the history he has.
Yep.
And now a big thing which I wrote a whole lot on, Scott Boras, Bryce Harper's agent, the Scott Boras.
Yeah.
The mega agent. He had an interview with Jim Salisbury, which I listened to in depth. Now just to explain what happened real quick, he said Phillies are being competitive. He said Harper loves playing in Philadelphia. Says he's familiar with the ballpark from the NL East experience. And he did say every team does their due diligence on researching these players. Well, we'll let the Phillies. Well, he's in a quote. He said like it was asked like, are the Phillies actually that interested in Harper? And Boras said he'll let the Phillies speak about it. Some people took this in like a negative tone, but I don't think an agent's gonna reveal how interested a team is in their player. I don't think an agent's gonna do that.
No, I agree.
And he said Harper hustles hard every game, works hard. Obvious little jolt to Manny Machado's comments during the World Series. He says they have met with numerous teams. He said he doesn't think much of the going to spend stupid comment, although I think he was being a little bear there. I think he does. I think he did recognize the comments, and he's going to try to get as much money out of Middleton as he can if Harper really does want to sign here.
Yes.
And he said our ownership wants to take aggressive steps. He said some benefits from Harper, not just his talent. You get more attention, better ratings. He's arguably one of the biggest faces in baseball, if not the biggest face.
I know they rigged a home run derby for him in Washington.
I remember that. He also said he's very young, which he is. He's 26. You rarely ever see a 26-year-old hit free agency like this with a bright future.
You guys think he still has it, though?
Harper?
Well, Harper, yeah. I mean, he's in the prime of his career.
Yeah.
How old is he?
26.
26.
It's crazy. Like,
I mean, he came into the league when he was 20.
Like, you never see a 26-year-old hit free agency. You just never.
It's nuts.
With his potential, it's crazy. It's gonna go down. Now moving
It's not even potential. He's already, established the potential he has and unlocked it and revealed it.
I think he's peaked. He's just cracked his potential line.
Yeah.
I think once he becomes more mature,
Yeah.
you'll really see how he can play.
Like, I'll show you what I mean. Are you gonna record the video, like chat, or no?
No, I'm not.
Oh well, just for you guys to see, it'll be like this. That's his potential. He's gonna stay there and then drop down in a long time. But yeah.
Alrighty. Going back to my notes real quick. Benefit very young, rare decision. Again, not often young players like Harper are on the market. And even after the decision is made, teams are going to look back at what they could have done differently, what they did do, making sure they know what they did.
Other teams are not being so aggressive for Harper.
Oh, it really, because it's going to be huge. It's going to be the biggest contract in baseball. It's going to be much more.
Money?
Yeah, biggest contract probably. I don't think it's going to be year-wise biggest, but money-wise definitely. It's going to be over $325 million.
The MLB?
Yeah, it's going to be over $325 million. It is going to be over that. Might even hit 400. Who knows? Now, he does indirectly, from what I heard, he hints that Philly Boras clients might have talked to Harper. Might have. I know Reese and Harper are kind of buddy-buddy over there.
Yeah.
But, yeah, he did say Philly has treated him and Harper very well, which I'm glad that he acknowledges. And he also praises Reese Hoskins, who did join on with Scott Boras during the season last year.
I have a couple of notes on things that happened during these same days. Justin Bour, old Philly, signs 2-year deal with the Angels.
Oh, yeah.
So, he's gone. He'll probably be their steady first baseman.
Yeah.
Familia comes back to the Mets, which is big in our division. Now knowing that the Mets have a great closer in Edwin Diaz, now they have a great eighth inning guy in Familia.
Yeah.
And lastly, JT Realmuto trade rumors all around at the East. And I mean, you can see the Mets want him, the Marlins want to deal him. The Phillies have even shown a little bit of interest in him. It'll be very interesting to see what happens to Realmuto.
Yeah. It's also a big possibility he stays with the Marlins. I mean, that's still on the table.
But they seems like they try to trade every good player they have so they can be bad on purpose.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Well, going back to the notes, again, Phillies, we're still looking to upgrade pitching now. Just recently, not during the meetings, we've been connected to Mike Minor, who I don't really see him as an upgrade. He's a lefty, but I don't really see him as a big upgrade or anything like that.
He had a good end to his season.
Oh, yeah.
But
he's
not very consistent.
I said we might go via trade route. Again, Mike Minor maybe. At this time, I still was thinking Trevor Bauer was a possibility. Now I'm not. So I proposed a potential deal for Trevor Bauer, which was Nick Williams, Mickey Moniak, and JoJo Romero traded for Trevor Bauer. I think it would have given the Indians the outfielders they needed. Nick Williams, Major League ready outfielder. Mickey Moniak, former #1 pick overall, who's going to be ready in a few years. And JoJo Romero, who's just on the brink of coming up to the major leagues.
Yeah.
And again, as Ben said, former Philly Justin Bour, he signed with the Angels. Now, day 5, last day of the meetings, December 13th, Dodgers surprisingly signed Joe Kelly, the man who dominated them in the World Series. I guess you can make that connection right there. Again, as Ben said, Mets did sign Jeurys Familia back after trading him away at the deadline last year. And we had the Rule 5 drafts. Rule 5 draft in Major League Baseball. We did not lose any players, any prospects who were eligible for the Rule 5. We did not lose any of them. Our pick, we picked
huge.
big, very big. Now, we picked shortstop Drew Jackson from the Dodgers. Although some of us thought he was going to be the next Jimmy Rollins. He got traded. Got traded soon after. Man, Drew Jackson, just imagine. Drew Jackson, the next Jimmy Rollins. Would have been crazy. But yeah, he got traded. He was not a big name. He got traded to the Orioles for international slot money. Not a big deal. The market was incredibly slow except for the Jerry Smelia, Joe Kelly, which happened very early in the morning for us. So the market was very slow that day, except for the Encarnacion trade to the Mariners, sending Santana to the Cleveland Indians.
He's had a busy couple of days.
Oh, man. Who would have thought after signing Santana last year he would be back with Cleveland just in 1 year's time? That is crazy. But yeah, so those were the winter meetings. Not many big things happened.
There was one deal that happened today, which doesn't really affect us. Yonder Alonso.
Oh yeah.
To the White Sox, which is another part of the White Sox.
Yeah, I could go on and on about that, but we're kind of getting long here, so I could go on and on about more things about Bryce Harper, Manny Machado. Who knows? Maybe that could be a next podcast topic.
How long?
Unless something big happens.
Have we been going on for?
As of this moment, it's been 26 minutes, which is crazy.
Ooh.
Yeah, but yeah, just to recap the winter meetings. Phillies signed Andrew McCutchen, 3 years, $50 million, option for a 4th year. We continue to be linked to Britton/Miller. I've heard that there's been progress on the front. I really hope we land someone like Andrew Miller. He would fit perfectly in our bullpen.
Yeah.
Perfectly. Of course, we've stayed connected to Harper Machado. I'm not sure about the actual front office's preference between Harper and Manny. Some are saying Machado, some are saying Harper. I'm not sure.
I would go with Machado. I think
I could really valid arguments could be made for each superstar.
Yeah, I guess we'll just have to wait and see. To be honest, what would be a big twist if we just picked up none of them?
That's a possibility, but I really do think if that happens, the fans are going to turn on this team.
Well,
I do think the fans will turn.
Do you think they will?
Yes.
Well, it's like, what else are we gonna use the money on? I think we'll do it.
Because if we don't get Bryce Harper and Manny Machado, the front office excuse is going to be, we didn't want to go to this extent for this player, and we feel that next year's class is better. Which actually it is. Next year's class is better, but still, you can't just pass up on a superstar player like Bryce Harper or Manny Machado like this. In my opinion, we should just go full out. You got to go full out and get at least one of them.
So you think we should just make the run here, put all our pennies?
Well, you're not going to put all of them. They're not going to earn that much money. Manny Machado's probably going to top out at like $350 million or something like that because of his comments. All our apples
on one basket, or
even if we sign like Harper to like $400 million, we still got a lot of money to work with.
I don't know. I kind of like the idea of a playoff run. It's been 10 years, We're all thirsty for another.
Yeah, that'd be great to do some postseason podcasts.
Oh, imagine. Just a World Series night podcast with PhilliesUnited.
Yeah, but with the starting pitching market, J. Happ signing, Eovaldi signing, it's starting to look more and more likely if we decide to even upgrade a rotation that it will be via trade. So that's going to be interesting. And now, this is more recently, but I'm kind of seeing reports that maybe going into the 2019 with the same rotation, but an elite bullpen is more likely, which I'm kind of fine with. What
do you mean?
What I mean with going into next year with the same rotation?
No, the elite bullpen. How do you mean?
Well, we've been connected to relievers like Craig Kimbrell, Andrew Miller, and if we sign someone like Kimbrell and Miller, which I see unlikely, but if that happens, you could make the argument we have one of, if not the best bullpen in baseball.
Oh, definitely.
You can make that argument. With youngsters like Victor Arano and Sir Anthony Dominguez and Hector Neris' resurgence, you could make the argument we would have the best bullpen in baseball, but it all depends on what moves the front office are willing to make.
Yeah, definitely.
So that's it for the winter meetings. Again, the consensus between three of us is that it was kind of underwhelming, right?
Very
Yeah.
underwhelming.
Yeah, very underwhelming. Or maybe our expectations were too high. Who knows?
I guess. Well, your expectations are going to be high after
Yeah.
so much happens in the past years.
But at least
No.
gotta recognize at least this market's moving. It's moving slow, but at least it's moving faster than last year's. Last year's was horrible.
Last year's what?
Last year's market was horrible. There were people like
Oh, yeah.
unsigned at the start of the season. It was crazy.
Oh, I know what you mean.
But yeah,
Ridiculous.
so the winter meetings, I think it sets us up to make a run at Manny Machado, Bryce Harper. Again, Machado's going to be visiting Citizens Bank Ballpark and all the Phillies executives next week, which I will cover on the Instagram account. Be on the lookout for that. Yeah. Again, I'm expecting that we sign one of them. I'm going to be very disappointed if we don't sign one of them.
Oh, it's like disappointed.
Yeah.
Maybe surprised. Or
Also, I think McCutcheon's having his press conference next week, which I will for sure cover.
live or
It's probably going to be live. All the press conferences this off
No,
season, they've been live.
video. I think it would be cool to have one.
Well, for us to do a live video.
Yeah, take fans' input into consideration.
Yeah, I've been I posted on the Instagram account. I don't want to get too long here, but this will be my last thing I'll talk about. I posted on the Instagram account while I was at work, saying I might do a live video. I thought about it. I didn't know how I would kind of stuttering how I would execute it. So I just decided just do a normal video for right now. Maybe look into the live video stuff during the week as stuff goes on in the baseball world, and we'll go from there. But it's a possibility. I'm willing to do it because it'd be cool to take live questions and all that. It'd be pretty nice. But yeah, that's the winter meetings. Covered everything we needed to cover. From what I know, from what I wrote down. I'd like to thank Ben again, Ben and Chris, for coming out and talking to me about the baseball winter meetings and the Phillies. It's great to talk to them both.
Of course.
Of course.
Yeah, so that's about it for this episode of Keeping the Faith podcast. 5th episode. I'm glad we're going strong so far. I like the views we're getting. Top notch. Getting that advertising revenue.
Are you next door now?
No, I'm not.
I was gonna say if I steamed out my window.
Yeah, that'd be. Yeah, but yeah. That's about it for this episode of Keeping the Faith, a PhilliesUnited podcast. Thank you all for listening. Thank you all for tuning in. Again, do you guys want to promote your Instagram accounts real quick if you want to?
Oh, of course. You can follow me on Instagram at chris.schulze. I'm very knowledgeable about baseball. Schulze is spelled SCHULZE. And yeah.
All right.
And you can follow me at ben.gendron.
Alrighty. And again,
did we
mention what?
A national champion water polo swimmer.
Oh yeah.
Congratulations.
Thanks.
Pretty nice. Good stuff. Now, again, if you're, I would think you're followed to the Instagram if you're seeing this video, but if you're not, again, at PhilliesUnited, I post daily, not really daily right now, but content as every move goes down, rumors, all the good stuff. That's about it. Again, thank you all for listening to the podcast. Tune in next week for another edition, unless something changes. Hopefully, big moves go down so we can talk about it. Cause I kind of need topics right now. So hopefully moves are made. But yeah, that's about it. Thank you all for listening. Have a great day. And again, thank you all for listening. Have a great day. Have a great night. Go Phillies. Be bold. Ring the bell. Let's keep the faith.
Go Birds.
See y'all later.